don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Whatever this episode says, it is the 244th episode. K-Mama, wherever you are, you were right. No, JS, it's not. Everything's okay. It's no big deal. I lured you here all with the thought that it might be about Dan and Muncie. Really, it's about your mom. Ho! Where's that little drum kick? Yeah, Kate did it. Hey, Kate, I'm also sending you a series of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pictures. Can you put those 7 pictures up? Thank you, ma'am. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, on to the big story. Before we get there, one last thing. Remember, if you have not hit the like button, hit the like button. If you have not hit the share, do that. All of the other YouTube stuff. I've been forgetting that. It's better to forget it. If you guys just do it, I won't have to say it. Like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. You guys know how to comment. Onward with the show. So yesterday was Thursday the 18th. And that means if you remember all the way back to Wednesday's show, we talked about the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. We had a meeting there on Thursday. That was at 9:00 in the morning. And if I seem a little scatterbrained tonight, it's because I'm burnt and I'm like in pain. If I look like pink, I went out on the boat today and I'm dealing with a sunburn. It's like the first burn I've had of the year. And so that's what's going on. So just bear with me on that. We'll try to get through it. Hey, sorry to be late. No problem. We're just getting ready to go through your pictures. Charlize happens to be here, and I want to thank Charlize. Look, this is what I love, because I've told people, look, not everybody's going to be able to do the same thing. Whatever your community is, wherever you live, just get involved. You don't have to do everything in every community. You just have to be able to do what you can. And if we can each put little pieces together, and Charlize has taken it upon herself to get really involved with what's going on in the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. We've got another viewer who really stays active in everything, Jackie Fisher. But Jackie, I always get a call when the Delaware County Commissioners meetings are, and Jackie keeps me up to date with what goes on in the commissioners meetings, which I appreciate. And so, if everybody can just do their part, then it's like a big teamwork. I've got the people who call me from Newcastle, that call me from Henry County, that call me from Madison County and whatnot. And so it helps us because it's not me and Kate and Brandon just trying to run our asses off and doing all of this. We've got all of this, insanity going on. And so basically what happens is we're able to, kind of network. And that's very, very, that's very good. So I'm trying to get back here through her pictures. I want to share these. Then we're going to look at a little bit of the Redevelopment Commission. So everyone knows that Muncie's been dealing with a problem here lately. And the problem is a communication issue. We're having a hard time communicating with the elected officials, okay? And I've got to say, Henry County does a pretty good job. Even City of Newcastle does a good job. I feel like communication is a big issue kind of everywhere. We've kind of talked about that. But you have to think about this. Ridenour ran a different campaign. He really focused. He ran for 2 full years on improving these 3 things: improving communication, improving transparency, and improving accountability. And by doing those 3 things, that would then allow him to do other things. And it's all around his like 6 or 7 point plan. We've got it somewhere, but you all know what it is: to slow government down, to put in only the best people, to improve the relationship between the city and the county. There it is. Improve communication, improve transparency, improve accountability, slow government down, improve relationship between the city and the county, and put the best people in place. Well, folks, none of that has happened. Like, it would make sense if there were 1 or 2 or 3 or even if 2 of them had happened. None of those have happened. None. And so we go down this path where it's like, when you're building a house, if I say, hey, go build a house, here's all the material, and I want you to start with the 3rd floor, you're never going to be able to build that house if you don't start with the foundation. So in another scenario, I tell you to go build the house, and I give you all of the tools, but all of the wood is bad to build the foundation. Well, if you start out with a shitty foundation, level 1 and level 2 and the roof is going to be bad. And that's the problem. If Dan's foundation promises have crumbled away and they're nothing, everything else is going to crumble away. And if the main person is bad, if Dan is not doing right and Dan is questionable, and then all of the people around him are questionable, and then the Board of Works is questionable, and all of the department heads are questionable, and the Muncie Redevelopment is questionable, that becomes a problem, okay? So you've got the Redevelopment Commission, And as we all know, it's made up of 5 individuals. They go through this. They even break this down for some reason. I don't know why they did. But of the 5 people on the Redevelopment Commission, 3 of them are mayoral appointments and 2 of them are council appointments. And you could, if you have never been in Muncie before, if you have never been in Muncie, if you just turned on and watched the Redevelopment Commission meeting for the first 20 minutes ever, you would be able to point out who the 3 people were there for the mayor and who the 2 people were for the council. You could tell that there's a divide. Now, you don't know that that's a Republican or a Democrat divide or what the deal is, but you can tell that there's a divide there. And it should not be like that. It should not be like that, okay? So before we start there, I want to show you what Charlize has taken the pictures of. I want to show you what Muncie's dealing with, because these are the things that the Redevelopment Commission should be handling, okay? And Charlize did a great job of documenting this, okay? So she shared the gateway vision of Muncie, which it's weird that they're calling it a gateway. It should be called like the heart or the city center, because it's not a gateway. It's going to be in the center of Muncie. So that's my weird thing. Out and about in Muncie, the good, the bad, the ugly, the potential, the future, the what the hell. Demolition of High Street Square is underway. Now, keep in mind that different entities call High Street Square different things. Some call it High Street Point. Some call it High Street Square. To me, it is High Street Square. That's what it's called, okay? And so it's called a public welcoming space at our downtown quote-unquote gateway is forthcoming. And then she has published the mock-ups, okay, that the city of Muncie has given. So here's City Hall back here in the background. Here's this. I imagine there'll be several people like this, just always like that. That's oohing and on. Look at that. That's amazing. Wow. Man, that looks amazing. Look at that. Ooh, ah. Oh, man. Stairs. Accessible ramp here. Paver color B. Paver color A. Look at some of these things. A seat wall. Who would have thought we could have a seat wall in Muncie? All right. So that's just what this is. They're showing, she's showing you a little bit of the construction from the area. It is what it is. All right. It doesn't look like anything. There's not much there currently. It is what it is. Okay. Oh, yeah, we've got a picture. Well, not of the completed crisis center because it's not complete, but we do have a picture of what's there currently. All right, so going on, out and about in Muncie, the good, the bad, the ugly, the potential, the future, the what the hell. Work has begun on drainage for the new Performing Arts Center and new Hilton Tapestry Hotel. Ashland is closed and torn up in the University and McKinley areas. And so here we are in Ball State in the Village area. And here we've got some big work going on. I've not been down here, so I'm interested to see this. I have not seen this, so I'm very happy that we've got these pictures. So that's that area. Okay. We'll get out of there. All right. We'll move on over into here. And this is work on Cooper Science Hall continues along Riverside Avenue. Okay. And this is what we've got here. You see this. This has been shut down for a long time. So it'll be good when this is up and running. Okay, this is the big one. In March 2022, Mayor Ridenour announced an IT firm from the state of Washington called Brick Red Systems was renovating the Southway Center. Now, 2.5 years later, nothing has been done. It is, by any definition, a blighted property. Additionally, the owner, a New Jersey individual, is delinquent on paying property taxes. And this is it. The yard has been mowed in a very haphazard way, where it seriously looked as if George Jones was out driving the tractor after having a few, because it's all hit and miss. They have mowed, I think, since these pictures, and it's crazy looking. All right. This property is really, and really the pictures doesn't do this justice. You have to go there and see this in person. It is so blah. It just looks like a ghost town. Again, the city tearing up this side of the parking lot was the dumbest thing ever. I still don't understand why they did that, but just there's very few of, if any, businesses in here. Obviously, Dollar General's still down there, and it's doing its thing. But here's Southway from a back angle, like from back a ways, looking at the front of it. Here's more of it. Here's more. Okay, there's that. So that is Southway. All right. Okay. Here, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the corner of 8th and Hoyt. Sits the Crisis Center. What is the present status? Nothing about this project has gone as scheduled. It is long past the projected completion opening date and is considerably over budget. IU Health Ball Hospital, an anchor on the project, pulled out due to the delays. A forensic audit of this project performed by an independent firm from start to present is required in Charlene's opinion, and I will absolutely second that. This is the picture that most people take, and I've been guilty of taking this picture and being like, okay, that's it. I will promise you tomorrow I will go down there and I will take a picture from each side of the building so you guys can see it from all around. The building looks nice. It's a nice building, but they are exactly where they were with this building in April, in March. Like, I don't understand what the deal is, why we are not any further along on this than what we are. It's really crazy. I don't know. Brad King says, and he's here in the comments, I cannot imagine sharing a story about a family members struggling in crisis as a personal story here and perform a project, then basically giving up on the project, which it seems like that's what they've done. Wow. I see. I see here, Charlize, that Liz asked if BMH pulled out. I will have to go back later and I can share that picture from that article. I didn't see that earlier, or I would have done that. All right, moving on. Here we are at the former Chevy plant in Muncie. Okay, this is the former Chevy plant. All right, it's fenced in. The weeds are out of control. It'll be interesting to see if the gates are closed. You could easily get into this. Kids get in here all the time and go in and do kid stuff and things, and so that needs to be watched. It needs to be looked at. Charlie goes on to say, this is a former Chevy Muncie factory location on 8th Street. A solar field plan failed, and since then the property has fallen into blight, overrun with weeds. It's a huge eyesore, and no one seems to be concerned with cleaning it up. Here's the problem. The city of Muncie owns it. Dan Ridenour purchased this, and when he did, he put it in the city's control, where before the city was making money off the property, and now we aren't. And the city is allowing it to look like this. The city should be ashamed of itself. Keep this picture and the fact that the city owns this property in your head for a moment when you watch.
Also keep in mind that because the city purchased it, as is, the city picks up the responsibility for any cleanup of the brownfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and that is very true. And for all of you that will be listening audio wise, I apologize going through this. Obviously, you guys can't see the pictures. This is just going to be an episode where you're probably going to need to come look at the video once you're listening to it, or once you're done listening to it. Okay, so here we are. Groundbreaking has occurred on the future home of the Kilgore place, a new apartment project on the former In-Zone Flamingo restaurant before In-Zone property. The apartments will be a mix of affordable and market rate housing units. Okay, these are the concept pictures. That is where it's going to go. They've got the fencing all up. They went and broke ground on this 2 weeks ago. Thursday is when they actually broke ground there. So it'll be interesting to see how long that takes. Then, of course, the drainage utility work on busy Tillotson Avenue continues. Tillotson is just an absolute mess. Hoyt is still shut down. I don't know what's going on with Hoyt. Hoyt is still an absolute mess. Just really, 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 really crazy that it's still going the way that it is. It needs to be taken care of. Okay, now we go on to this is now, I believe, after the meeting, and this is pictures that she's taken out at Store Estates, which I showed you the pictures a couple weeks ago. So at this point, we're going to pause, and then we're going to take a look at the actual MRC meeting. Oh, I forgot. You can't just go, man. All right, here we go. I've got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the nonsense that the city of Muncie has done with their communications, their Facebook page, absolutely the epitome of a government that just does not give a shit about you.
All right, good morning and welcome to the July 18th, 2024 meeting of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. I will now call this meeting to order. We will go ahead and take roll. Mr. Bishop is absent today. He has a concussion, so please be thinking about him today. Mr. Dale.
Present.
Mr. Miller present. Mr. Probilla.
Present.
Ms. Wagley.
Present.
And Mr. Lowe.
Present.
Good to see you today, sir. We'll go ahead and move forward with approving the agenda. I do want to amend the agenda.
See you, Alan.
We have an item before us that we need to hear and discuss from the Delaware County Historical Society today. Ms. Vincent is here today as well. I see her. So if you guys wouldn't mind, I'm going to ask that we amend the agenda and add the Delaware County Historical Society item. We'll do that at the top of other business, if that's okay.
They look real enthused.
Any other amendments? Anything? I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Dale?
Yep.
Yes. Me? Yes. Mr. Probilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to the approval of the previous meeting minutes, or memoranda, I guess now as it's titled. We do need to approve minutes from the month of May and
All
the
right,
month
I
of
want
June.
you to listen to this.
Any discussion on that? Mr. Freeman, I don't know if you had any comments about format or anything along those lines, the memoranda format, or no?
I guess I don't understand the question.
All right. All right. Now, it's very important here. I listened to Dan Bongino the other day say this, and I think I'm going to start saying this. I try to do a really good job on here of letting you guys know when I am telling you something that I know 100% because it's information that has been given out by the city administration, by the council, or if it's something that I'm breaking to you, no one else has this information, but it's come to me from a tried and true source that I know, and he or she's given me evidence with it, or I've got it from multiple sources. When I know something is a factual, there's no way that this is anything but this, I will tell you, yes, this is the honest to God information, yada, yada, yada. I also let you guys know when I'm like, oh, I don't really know. I'm not 100% sure that this is just out there. I do my best to let you know when we're talking about something that is factual or when I'm speculating. I really try to do that. But I heard Bongino talking about that the other day when dealing with the Trump assassination. And so this is one of those times. I have no way of proving what I'm getting ready to say. I just have a sneaking suspicion. So the minutes of the meeting have always been called meeting minutes. Always, 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 always. Keep that in mind, number one. Number two, this is, for those of you that don't know, this is not the city council. This is the Muncie Redevelopment Commission board, okay? The city council is a 9-member body. This is a 5-member body. This is the Redevelopment Commission. And then there's a 3-member body called the Board of Works. Okay. The council members appoint 2 of these people. The mayor appoints 3. Today, there's only 4 people there. One of the commissioners is out because he has a concussion. They have an attorney. The man that is the attorney for this board, I am not fond of. I'm not a big fan of. I don't like him, really. He is the attorney for the county council, the Ben Freeman, that young guy that always sits up next to Jessica. I'm not a big fan of him, all right? All of a sudden, between last meeting or the meeting before and this meeting, the name meeting minutes have changed. They now, and I just heard him call it, they're now calling it the memorandum, the memoranda. All right. I think the reason they're doing that is because they have called down and they have double checked with Luke Britt, the public access counselor, at what they have to absolutely, to be within the law, what they've got to do to make sure that they're legal. And what Luke Britt told them is what the law is. They don't have to write a running commentary. They don't have to write everything that everybody says. Basically, the only thing that you've got to do is you've got to keep, the members present. Are they, who's there, who's not there? Who's made the motions, who's seconded, and keep the votes. That's basically all you've got to do. Okay, that's what they say. As we talk on here a lot, though, ladies and gentlemen, that is the floor, not the ceiling. That is a place where you start. I think that we should expect more than that. Well, the reason this is a concern is because Andrew Dale, this man here, so normally Andrew Dale would be in this seat. Pribella would be in this seat. He would be here. And then we would have a little guy called Zane Bishop here. And then we would have Shireen here. But Zane Bishop is gone. And Zane and Andrew are the two people that were appointed by the council. And they're kind of on one side. There's a division line right here. Zane, who's absent, and Andrew, and all of these three people are for the mayor. Now, mostly this guy's quiet. He just get along with these two. But these two are the ones that push the mayor's agenda and do whatever the mayor wants. And they're the most vocal and chaotic, okay? Andrew has been pushing for a more hefty minutes. He wants to keep track of the people who come there. And what they're all in favor of doing is keeping very basic, bare minimum minutes, not keeping in citizens' concerns. If citizens come up and they praise them, sure, that could go in. But if Charlize gets up and says something in their eyes that is negative, no, they don't want to cover that. Okay, they're not going to keep that in there. Well, Andrew has been very vocal about that. So because of that, why else would these name change? It's just like the Facebook. I feel like the city of Muncie here recently has had a long, hard sit down with the public access counselor, probably after they kicked me out of that meeting up north, after that whole big scuttlebutt. They probably sat down with like a training or something with him, and the city probably went down and checked off everything that they had to do as a bare minimum, and anything that didn't fall within that guideline, they're not doing. That's what I think is going on. That's what I think is going on with the Facebook page. That's what I think is going on with the live streamed meetings. And that's what I think is going on with this nonsense. Okay. So Isaac says, we're going to vote on the memoranda of the last meeting. And then he says, city council attorney, do you have anything that you would like to add? And I think what he's wanting to happen here is I think he's wanting the attorney to say, we've changed the minutes and, this is the way it's going to be. So basically you can save the argument from this point forward. We don't need an argument. But Freeman not playing ball, not knowing what he's supposed to do, just being in la la land, he's like, I don't understand your question. And so that's what I absolutely love. Now, I don't have any proof of that. That's just how it went down in my head. But just listen to this and then we'll get started. That's my favorite thing.
It's okay. Any other amendments? Anything? I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
To the July 18th, 2024 meeting of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. I will now call this meeting to order. We will go ahead and take roll. Mr. Bishop is absent today. He has a concussion, so please be thinking about him today. Mr. Dale.
Present.
Mr. Miller present. Mr. Prabilla.
Present.
Ms. Wagley.
Present.
And Mr. Lowe.
Present.
Good to see you today, sir. We'll go ahead and move forward with approving the agenda. I do want to amend the agenda. We have an item before us that we need to hear and discuss from the Delaware County Historical Society today. Ms. Vincent is here today as well. I see her. So if you guys wouldn't mind, I'm going to ask that we amend the agenda and add the Delaware County Historical Society item. We'll do that at the top of other business, if that's okay. Any other amendments? Anything? I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Dale?
Yep.
Yes. Me? Yes. Mr. Prabilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to the approval of the previous meeting minutes, or memoranda, I guess now as it's titled.
Oh,
We do need to approve minutes from the month of May and the month of June. Any discussion on that? Mr. Freeman, I don't know if you had any comments about format or anything.
because why else would he have any comment about the format? The format, see, he's digging. He's wanting Freeman to come up and save him, but Freeman just is asleep at the wheel.
Those lines, the memoranda format, or no?
I guess I don't understand the question.
No, never mind. That's okay. Never mind.
And then he says, never mind, because he didn't take the bait. Ooh, I love it.
See, they can get Dale to shut up about the minutes not being extensive enough, because according to the public access counselor, a memorandum for the meeting has the date and time and place of the meeting, the members recorded as either present or absent, the general substance of the matters proposed, and a record of the votes.
Yep.
That is it.
Yep. Yep.
So they're doing that because most people tend to look at minutes as being a bit more extensive than just those things. And so by changing the name of it, they can make Dale shut up.
Or they think they will.
Now we've met the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is all a memorandum is. So we're not keeping minutes anymore. We're just doing a memorandum.
So let me ask you this.
Sure.
Do you think my explanation of what happened here, seeing this the first time, do you believe that could be a very accurate portrayal of what's happening here, that I'm painting an accurate picture?
Yeah, that he wanted the attorney to explain we weren't doing minutes anymore. We were doing a memorandum, and this is what's required.
And the attorney didn't catch it.
And he didn't catch it.
And then he's like,
the other thing I
mind.
noticed is that Isaac has started off this meeting being a dick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Catch
And
that with the vote?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where Dale says, yep. And he goes, yes. Okay, I vote yes. He had to correct.
Yeah. Yes.
This is not Washington, D.C., dude. This is Muncie. He said, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That means yes. That's obvious to everyone watching and listening.
Right,
You want to pretend that you're running what?
Yeah.
You're the president of the fucking Senate?
Right. Yeah.
Get off your high horse.
Yeah.
You're not anyone special.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Calm it down just a little bit.
Do your damn job.
It gets a lot crazier.
All the shit that gets presented to you and do the right thing for the citizens of Muncie. Otherwise, just go fuck yourself, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Tim Dalton, you're exactly correct. He's in training. He's also been around long enough that here's the thing. He does have a superiority complex. He is extremely egotistical. And it stinks on him. You can smell it when you walk in the room. It's absolutely crazy. And so it's just, it's nuts. It gets worse. The thing I'm concerned about, though, is he's not catching on, because he's been around long enough that he should be picking more up, and he's still just spinning his wheels in first gear. Okay, here we go.
Mr. President,
You go ahead.
I've sent my suggested updates to rectify how the meeting occurred for May 16th minutes.
Okay.
And I've sent them to each member, and I would move that we accept the minutes as presented with the additional recommendations that I provided.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Hearing none, motion dies. I will go ahead and make a motion that we approve the last 2 months' previous minutes as presented. Do I have a second for that motion?
Second motion.
Second. Okay. Mr. Dale.
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pabilla.
Yes.
Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Okay. Move on to
So Andrew didn't get a second because Zane has a concussion. Listen, all Andrew wants to put in the minutes is an understanding of what happened in the meeting. Why are they like, I almost got up and asked, I was at this meeting. I did not ask the question. I should have, but I'm glad I didn't because of what happened later. Isaac and I have words in this meeting. I wish I would have got up and said, why do you guys fight it? Can anybody explain why you fight? I might have to go next meeting and ask that. I'll put it to you this way. If Andrew pushes it next meeting, I will ask it then. But okay, here we go.
To the claims from Mr. Wright.
Are we going to approve the June 20th minutes?
My motion was for June and May.
For June and May? Thank you.
We just do it all at once.
Morning.
Go ahead.
I sent out the register of claims yesterday afternoon and just wanted to make note that this was the month that we also have some bond payments that were due. So that was the bulk of it. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions that you might have.
The only question that I've got, and I thank you for answering the other question,
Mhm.
The USI payments, USI consultant payments on page 6 for $42,000, which is in addition to the 49 and the 14 that we paid before. Is that all one project or is that multiple projects?
Let me get to it here.
Sure.
USI Consultants.
Yeah.
That was for the Greenway pocket for Columbus Avenue to North Walnut on that project.
Is that the only project that they're doing work for us on?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I could follow up on it and get back with you on that.
Yeah, I'm just curious because the costs continue to be substantial, and that may be fine, but I'm just curious what the understanding of what that contract was to begin with. And I would appreciate maybe at the next meeting or in between, just having someone indicate what we think those costs were going to be overall.
Well, it was budgeted. It was in our report. I can't remember what the original number was, but it's
Mm.
the structure for the Columbus Avenue development.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering what that overall was.
I couldn't.
Maybe at the next meeting, or maybe someone could shoot me an email. I'm just curious. Can that be done?
Yeah, we can follow up on it.
Okay, thank you. That's the only question I had.
Any other questions today on the claims? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pabilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Okay. We'll move on to the report from the city. Mr. Howe, if you'd like to go ahead.
All right, we'll review the financial position, the MRC financial position. You'll see we have the total focused TIF funds of $687,000. Planned investments, which would be,
Jeff, they don't have this.
oh, I'm sorry.
Is it that?
He does, yes.
I apologize.
That's okay. I was looking for it earlier. I meant to say something.
I keep forgetting. I'm used to somebody handing them to me.
Not the other way around.
Watch this.
Thank you so much.
Did you hear her? Did she say, I got it? Listen, wait. Back this up.
Let me go back.
Listen.
I keep forgetting. I'm used to somebody handing them to me.
Listen to me. First of all, look at Wagley and see she's holding paper in her hands when some of the others aren't. But listen if under her breath if she says, I got it. Tell me if that's what she says.
Not the other way around.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I got it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I got it. But you know what? He just went ahead and gave it to her anyways because that's part of the whole shtick. All right. She should have kept her mouth shut. But the thing is, you don't have to because we all know it's a bullshit game. Like, ridiculous, man. First of all, she shouldn't be sitting on this board.
Well, and then she picks up the one that he hands her and puts it behind the one she already had.
Mm-hmm.
What was the point?
Yeah, right. Yes. I love you guys. I love all of you on here. Even you weirdos that fight and hate on each other. I love it. I love all of you people. You're all very intelligent.
Let me go back. Okay, total focus TIF funds are still $687,000. Haven't changed in the last 5 minutes. Total planned investments is at 1.9 million, 1.9 with a total focused in planned investment funds of 2.6 million, a little over $2.6 million. We have non-focused funds with the MRC, consolidated TIF, and other cash accounts, which total 1.5, a little over $1.5 million. Projected income, which would be just a little over $2 million. And then we have allocated spending. Allocated spending is at just under $1 million, $975,000, and gives us an estimated consolidated TIF funds at the end of the year at $2.7.5 million. And in the way of updates this week, not very many updates this week, really actually very brief updates this week. We have the Kilgore Place. We had a groundbreaking that happened last Thursday, I think it was. Well attended. We had, I didn't know, but we had some local financial institutions that were part of the project, and we had local realtors and part of the project. So we did have some other local folks that were participating in that. And so it was nice to see the turnout. We did have a couple of the city council members were also there for the groundbreaking. On the point, as we discussed last time, after touch a truck, they would start to do the demo out there. Anybody who drove in from the north today saw that the demo is underway, and they'll start construction after that, but it's coming along. I did put in your packet the rendering again, just as a reminder of what is going to be out there, or something near that. Then I wanted to go through, we had some things come up in this meeting, and then I've certainly gotten some emails, some inquiries that I still think there's a necessity to help people understand what we do, the Redevelopment Commission. I want to also clarify what I do, and then maybe help folks understand what we don't do. And, we only deal with properties that we own. And then we also will do some things to incent other development, but we can't make people do things with buildings that they own or have them sell to who they're going to sell their property who they want to sell to. So we're composed of 5 members, 3 appointed by the mayor, 2 by the city council, and we have an additional member, non-voting member, which is appointed by the Muncie
Didn't
Community
you do this
Schools.
a couple meetings ago?
Primary purpose of the MRC is to
Well, yeah, kind of. But this is interesting to me what he does, because it really, and Andrew Dale's going to push back against him here in a minute. And we're not going to listen to the whole meeting. We're going to jump around, but I want people to listen what he says here. And they keep coming back because I think he doesn't like I think he specifically
They don't like questions.
Yeah, they don't like questions. I think he does not like Charlize getting up and asking questions. I think he's put out by Sue Arrington being there and asking questions. They don't like. Nora and I are not bestie friends, but I don't think they like Nora sing. And look, Nora came off with a pinch of an attitude when she first got up.
Well, they started out being dicks in this meeting.
Well, and I think she was mad at how Isaac acted last time when he's like, well, I've never been invited to the council. Every time he says that, I'm like, dude, you know how government works, don't you, bro? Public comments, you're a citizen of Muncie. You're invited anytime you want to be there.
And you have all the council's emails. If you think there's something really important going on that maybe the council might want to know about, shoot them an email and go, hey, can I get on the agenda?
It's not that hard. I don't get it. So yeah, but
you need a golden invitation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. He's special and important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, Tim Dalton. Tim says Nora came in with an attitude from last meeting. She came to beat his ass down, but he took the bait and escalated the BS. Absolutely, sir. Yes. Okay, here we go.
create opportunities for development, growth, investment, and jobs with a focus on more blighted areas in Muncie. We also oversee business development opportunities and are authorized to acquire and dispose of property. Development involves revitalization of declining areas. And we do that we investigate, survey, study, and the need for development or redevelopment to try to address.
And if he's so good at his job, wouldn't he be looking up, talking out of his mind? He's reading this and he's not reading it very well. That's the thing. It's like, did Ridenour write this for? Like, yeah. That's exactly right, Tim. And Jeff has his.
Underlying factors causing an area to need redevelopment, and select and acquire properties identified for redevelopment or economic development. We do that right. Hopefully our bottom line goal is to sustain and, when possible, enhance the economic health of our community. Our current focus areas have been enhancing job growth prospects, identifying strategies to boost job growth in Muncie and Delaware County, helping improve infrastructure to support new developments, Store, the Village, Columbus Street are examples of that. Improving quality of life, developing initiatives to enhance the quality of life for current residents and make Muncie more attractive for potential new residents. You'll see some of that in our financial report when we made the allocation for parks and those kind of things. Increase affordability and workforce housing, affordable and workforce housing, expanding and improving availability of affordable housing to to meet the needs of our community. I saw a market study that was shown to me a few weeks ago, and it showed 2,400 and some odd unit shortage in the market. And we collaborate with developers on new housing projects. That's important. We collaborate with developers. We are not developers. We had people say those projects were done by private developers, or hey, what projects have you done or done by private developers? They're all done by private developers. We don't develop property. I would say I would never say never, but that's not what we do. Then we also will we also will do some financial support, the award for tax credits and assisted development projects when that's necessary to get those things done. And you've seen that with the pilot, which we'll talk about later. So we'll talk a little bit about the housing needs in Muncie, because we also have questions about, building versus renovating and those kind of things. So, so I've done a little research and so much of the inventory does not meet the standards of housing in either community. In other communities, it does not meet the standards of other communities that we compete for jobs. So we need to up our game. We also addressing availability of safe, sound housing for all residents. Reports have highlighted the substandard conditions and high rental rates of some properties. By increasing housing options, we aim to foster competition among landlords, which means more competitive rents, and also offer improved housing to folks that need it. The state of housing in Muncie, median household income in Muncie in 2022 was $40,900, 60% of the median household income in Indiana. 39% of the households had income below $30,000, 39%. 18.1% of the families live in poverty. With such low income levels, the high cost of renovating Muncie aging housing stock, I found this a little alarming. 21% of the houses in Muncie are over 85 years old. 90% of the houses in Muncie are over 60 years old. I can tell you every morning when I get out of bed at 60 years old, they get pretty creaky, because I get pretty creaky. So upgrading a house, especially if you're looking at, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, which, you would need in those age houses, you're looking at probably $25,000. If there's foundation work, structural work, foundations are 85 years old, structures 85 years old, it's going to drive that cost up. Renovating these houses can cost between $75 and $200 per square foot. And then if you start adding structural work, windows, that can be pushed up. And of course, if we look at historical restoration, which people like that as well, you're looking at driving the price to about $400 a square foot. So you can see the cost to renovate homes, especially 85 and 60-year-old homes, especially if they're in areas that have hit hard economic times, is a substantial investment. Given the combination of aging and outdated housing requiring significant rehabilitation, coupled with the population currently facing lower incomes, investing of tens of thousands of dollars in renovating older homes is simply not feasible for many of Muncie's residents and families. And it certainly is a significant investment to try to even support with help. So I
Shut him up for a second.
so I've got an example.
Go ahead.
There are grants designed specifically to deal with blight properties. If the government owns them, they can get those grants. And I'm talking millions of dollars.
Yeah.
My mother worked as the town clerk for a little town in Kentucky called Pembroke. It's maybe 800 people, maybe 1,000. They got $1 million grant to rehab 10 homes in Podunk, Kentucky. Don't tell me that you can't find the funding to fix these properties. You are full of shit. You are lazy and unwilling to do the research to really help the people of Muncie. So he can go fuck himself too.
Yeah. Well, and the bottom line is, again, he's reading all of this. That's the thing that blows me away. I thought he was so good at this that he would just know this stuff and, have to look down periodically. He's reading this word for word.
Example here of build versus renovate.
And that's the reason he's so just wall one monotone level.
had a lot of discussion about housing. I've had this discussion a number of times about housing. So City View 1 and 2, as we talked about last time.
It's almost over here.
61 homes being built. If we assume that we replaced 61, they were built on lots, but if we assume those homes were being replaced, and there were 1,000 square foot homes, you're looking at renovation costs between $4.5 and $12 million, depending on the extent of the renovations, if somewhere in that span. So if we use something below the midpoint, or just below the midpoint, so say $125 a square foot, you're looking at $7.5 million to renovate 61 homes. And that assumes, again, no structural problems. We did a deal with Pivotal. Pivotal came in and built 32 homes in 12 months. It's a difference between, so we were able to find somebody to come in and build 32 homes on lots that we owned. And those homes will be for rent for a while, but then it will eventually be for sale. But you can see what a big chunk of housing.
Notice they will be for rent for a while. For a while. Keep in mind that for a while. All right. Andrew's going to talk about that in a second.
Is resolved in a fairly quick period of time. And they'll finish all 61 of those homes in about 18 months. So that's why we've been focusing on trying to find deals. And that's why we talk about these lots and we talk about using them strategically and things like that, because these are the opportunities that we are exploring. And we are exploring other opportunities to do similar things. Other things we've been looking at and working on is focus on identifying and creating opportunities for new businesses, that will increase property taxes. I've said this before, we got 4 projects that we're working on that are in various stages. You got Washington Square, Store Estates, the sports complex, the former YMCA.
Now listen, he names these 4 projects. Let me back up.
So that's why we've been focusing on trying to find deals. And that's why we talk about these lots and we talk about using them strategically and things like that, because these are the opportunities that we are exploring. And we are exploring other opportunities to do similar things. Other things we've been looking at and working on is focus on identifying and creating opportunities for new businesses, that will increase property taxes. I've said this before, we got 4 projects that we're working on that are in various stages. You got Washington Square.
Washington Square. Store Estates.
Store Estates, the sports complex.
Sports complex. And the YM.
The former YMCA. All those projects are properties that never in the last, well, it varies, but the Store Estates, it was a school since 1959. So 65 years, it hasn't had property taxes. The YMCA has been there for 50 years without property taxes. Washington Square, I don't know how long the former Justice Center was there, but no property taxes. The Sportsplex has been 25 years, no property taxes. When fully developed, and it will take time, the other thing we need to talk about, these things take time. Patience never hurt a project. Impatience will mess them up. So we need to be patient, but they will take time. But when those are complete, if they're completed the way they're proposed to be completed, they will produce $1.2 million in new property taxes, where there have been none before for much of our lifetime. And then the other properties we talked about last week in our last month in our meeting will produce about another $500,000 in property taxes. So you're looking at $1.7 million in new property taxes that did not affect a current homeowner's property tax. These are all properties that aren't producing property taxes now, or improvements that will change the property tax dynamic. So my role is to develop, initiate, oversee, and advance various projects aimed at boosting our economic growth.
You hear that?
I'm pedaling the bike every day.
He's pedaling the bike every day.
Lots of conversations. Some of those conversations will go nowhere. Some of them will end up.
Some of his conversations will go nowhere.
Properties will be developed and will meet our objectives. The commissioner's role, your role, is to provide fiscal oversight, just much like the mayor's role with the city council. The mayor will run the city, and the city council will oversee the expenditures.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. Except anytime Andrew Dale steps in to try to be fiscally responsible, and isn't it amazing how it's so amazing? that Ridenour and his administration are the quote unquote Republicans in this, but they have a hard time being fiscally responsible, and it tends to be the Democrats here. Things are so backwards in Indiana.
And so those are the things that we do, and hopefully that clears people up. We are not a developer. We will connect opportunities with folks who are willing to make investments, and that's what we do. And when we're successful, it takes time for these things to happen.
Mr. President, I have a statement.
All right, here comes Andrew Dale.
I want to make sure, because I think I understand the role of the commission very well. It is not necessarily the fiduciary responsibility party to this. In the Redevelopment Association of Indiana's handbook, which jibes with the Indiana Code, the Redevelopment Commission's mission is to address the conditions associated with areas in need of redevelopment and the utilization of land and/or barriers to development. This mission requires a set of goals, objectives, which are formulated through study of jurisdiction, identification of problem areas, strategic planning on the part of the commission, and interaction with policymakers and developers. The Redevelopment Commission should review its goals and objectives at least annually. The actual code, Indiana Code 36-7-1411, duties of the commission: investigate and study survey areas. I'm paraphrasing here.
I know,
investigate, study,
Bird.
determine, extent possible, combat the causes of needed redevelopment. Promote the use of land in the manner and the best serve the interests of the unit government. It goes on and on. And I don't know if you're aware or not, but in 2023, the state legislature came out with House Enrolled Act number 1454, which states this: no later than December 1st of each year, beginning December 1st of 24, that's in a few months from now, Redevelopment Commission must prepare a spending plan for the following calendar year that describes planned expenditures. The Redevelopment Commission must submit the plan to the mayor and to our city council by December 1st. We do that in partnership with professionals like yourself, the administration, and others in the community, but we don't react to things.
Jeff Howell is basically trying to handcuff the MRC board. All right. And this is something that a very good friend of mine, Sarah Beach, has said. Every other person in the past that has been the economic development director has been appointed by the mayor, and they answer to the will of the board. Dan, in his infinite wisdom, has not called Jeff Howell the economic development director. No. He calls him something totally different. He's almost made up a new job. He calls him the MRC director. Well, we've never had an MRC director. He's making it sound like Jeff Howell is over the MRC. That is not true. The MRC, in their appointments, are basically like city councilors or county commissioners. They are on the body, and they are each and individually no more or less powerful than the next member. And when they are all together, the quorum of their vote is where their power is at. Their power lies in their vote. And so they don't answer to Jeff. It's quite the opposite. But Jeff and Dan, I assume, is attempting to rewrite the rules here. And they're trying to say that the board answers, and the board is there to kind of, keep Jeff happy. And that is not correct.
Our goal is to be proactive and to help strategize what happens. The way things typically happen, from how I see it, is that things are brought to us and then we're to make a decision, but we weren't necessarily a part of the process that determined the validity of
Andrew
those
wants
needed
to be part
projects
of
or
the
not needed
process.
projects. So in the case in point, you mentioned City View Homes. You're right. It's a tax credit project. It's not a rental project for any minor amount of time. Those are all rental units that have to satisfy a 15-year period of affordability.
15 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, those homes, when they are rented, they have to rent for 15 years. And again, Andrew's going to drop the truth on him. He's going to say, at the end of that 15 years, Let me know how you think those houses are going to be after 15 plus. And look, it's 15 years. If you go in, if Tim Dalton goes in and says, I want to rent this, and you rent a continuous property for 15 years, then you can, I guess, do whatever and get a mortgage on it, maybe for another, what is it, another 15 years, or then you got to get a mortgage for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's really questionable, because think about what they would be. But what happens to the people who, I go in there and I'm there for 2 years, but I don't stay the whole 15. And then Kate moves in and she's there for 5 years. And then by the time Tim moves in, I've already lived there for 2. Kate's lived there for 5. That's 7 years that 2 different people live there. By the time that Tim lives there for 15 years, now, cool, you can finally buy this property. The house is going to need so much upkeep at that point. It's like, what are they doing?
Well, not only that, but if you're renting, sounds like you're buying on land contract.
Mm-hmm.
And land contract, you could be at year 14 and they come in and go, oh, well, you haven't been taking very good care of this place. Bye.
Yeah. Yes.
Then they find somebody else to rent it to for another 14 years.
Another
before they
14
throw them
years.
out. This is the shadiest shit I think I've ever heard.
I know, man. And they stand around and stick their thumbs up their ass and pat themselves on the back thinking they're doing a good job.
Well, and here's the other question. That 15 years you're renting, does the money you're paying into the property over those 15 years, does that go towards like your down payment on the home? Does part of it go to your down payment on the home?
Good questions.
Do you get credited any of that money? $800 a year for 15 years, that's $60,000.
Yeah.
Actually,
Absolutely.
my math may be wrong. I'm trying to math in my head and it hurts. So,
Well,
yeah.
It's
It's $120,000. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
$120,000. Just
Most of-
what happens to all that money?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Whose bank account was it?
Yeah, whose bank account is it going in? This Niles is sitting.
Right.
there
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah. Where's it? Yeah. Where's it going? Who's the agreement between?
That's my question. Is this being done as a land contract kind of thing? If you're renting for 15 years to be able to buy it, that sounds like a land contract.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's go
Thank you,
on here and
Kathy.
see what. Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. All right, here we go.
After 15 years, those can be purchased either by someone who's been living there, and they might get some credit towards that, or somebody new. But after 15 years, I'm wondering how 61 units are going to be holding up.
Yeah.
15 years of being a rental unit. So I think, and my whole point in that is not to be combative, is simply to say that I would have advocated as a commissioner, if brought on early on in those types of discussions, if we planned in community, not just as the commission with yourself and the mayor and others, but with the entire community. There are many people who have advocated for go straight towards homeownership as opposed to a 15-year period of affordability on that, and a balanced approach to rental units versus homeownership.
Ding, ding, ding,
That's
ding,
just
ding.
one example. I could talk about a number of others, and I could tell you that it's great. You're right. We don't do it alone. Developers come in and do that. We're an empty vessel for which things fall into, as opposed to we've set a map and said, we're willing to invest here. We're willing to invest there. We have stated that and proclaimed it to all green earth. If you choose to do development here, we will support you. If you choose here, we may not. What we're doing is we're grabbing low-hanging fruit. In my opinion, we're grabbing low-hanging fruit as to what comes to us, as opposed to us saying, this is who we are, this is where we're going, this is what the statistics say, this is what we ought to be doing. So I just have a difference of opinion in part with what you've said.
Well-
And I've wanted to state this, I've tried to state it, and over the last 5 years being on the commission, I have strongly advocated for equipping the commission to do its work, because it's not work for the faint of heart. It's not easy work. But if we show up every month for a meeting and check this off and check that off, it's a little harder work than that, I think. For me, I expect to do a lot more work in community. So I just want to state that. I'm not trying to be provocative. That's how I feel. And I know that's
And I feel sorry for Andrew because he always has to say that, like, you know, I'm not trying to be combative. I'm not trying to be provocative, because they always assume that. They always say shit to him like, oh, you're stirring up trouble, or you're just trying to showboat, or you're just trying to get the spotlight, you know, ding, 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 ding. But it's like, oh, he's just being truthful, man.
what the statute says, because I just read it.
You read what the statute said about the commission.
About what the duties of the commission. It's
And there
not
are-
just
and there are
to
roles within the
approve.
commission, just like in any company. There's a role of that company, and there are people in that commission that have different roles.
Actually, I completely disagree with you on that.
That's fine.
We are to be proactive planners in community with other organizations, including the mayor, yourself, other professionals, land bank, whomever. But we're to be on the front edge of that. We're not to be on the reactionary edge, and that's exactly what we are, in my opinion. That's what I've got to say about that.
Okay. Are there any other points of discussion on responsibilities and roles of the Redevelopment Commission today? No? Okay. Please continue, Mr. Howe.
Finally,
All right.
after all of this time, now, once yet again, we've got the role and responsibility of what this board is.
New opportunities, real quickly, High Street Plaza.
All right, we're
Jump
going to
next to the
skip
point.
past this High Street
legislation for the
Plaza.
New Deal. He also was instrumental in developing the Lend-Lease program before the United States entry into World War II. And then after the war, he was also instrumental in
Now let's skip past this. There's good parts if you guys want to go back and watch the whole thing. I'm going to skip through some of this. She's talking about getting a plaque set up in a parking lot. Sound like a good thing.
You're just updating it, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
This, the other document, the agreement to sell, this is new,
Right.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's
So what happened
This
Supported.
Shireen voice, man, I'm telling you, it is nails on a chalkboard.
then after we bring it to the commission meeting, if the offer was accepted, then we would do a purchase agreement, which is what I just handed you. And if there were conditions, heads up on that.
Go ahead, Ms. Wiley.
This is, the application is something we already have. You're just updating it, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
This,
The public. Yeah, I think it's great. So thank you for showing us this. We don't need to take action on it.
No,
So
yeah.
we gave you administrative action. So
That's fine.
but yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So on to other business. So 2801 South Cowan Road.
All right, I want you guys to listen to this. This is the old Garrett Auto Sale building. It's Coops. This is a little personal for me. I've got family that was connected to Garrett Auto Sales. It's my grandmother, my grandma and grandpa that watched this, the redhead. Her family was in Garrett Auto Sales. So this couple back here, they own that now. And I want you to listen to this. We've met these people before when we've listened to them speak before the county version of the MRC, when they went to the county, the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission. I'm going to speed through his request, but I want you to hear what his ask is, and I want you to hear what the city is telling him.
Garrett Cooper is here to answer questions if you have questions. Is the owner of Coops Lawn
Gary
Care.
Cooper.
I believe he and his wife are owners of Coops Lawn Care, maybe. But
You administrative action. So
that's fine. Yeah.
but yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So on to other business. So 2801 South Cowan Road. Garrett Cooper is here
Garrett
to answer
Cooper.
questions if you have questions. Is the owner of Coops Lawn Care.
Oh, that's weird that his name is Garrett Cooper and the name of his business is Cooper's Lawn, blah, blah, blah. And the building that he bought was at first, before he bought it, was called Garrett's. That's really crazy.
I believe he and his wife are owners of Coops Lawn Care, maybe. But so they have been making an investment on South Cowan Road, and they have purchased land out there and have built a very nice big pole structure, but a very nice structure in which they're going to operate their lawn care business, wholesale and retail, and then also a trucking firm out of that property. The project is near completion, and when complete, that soon will create 6 full-time equivalent jobs.
It's wonderful.
With I think growth potential beyond that. To date, they've invested about $1.2 million.
They've invested
and,
1.2 million.
Much of that has been their equity in the project. But there's a requirement that they've come to us to talk about. That there's a requirement for them to pay that entire lot. It's gravel now, and there's a requirement to pave it. And we talked about it, and I've talked to the county redevelopment folks as well about it's a $200,000 investment on top of the 1.2 that they put in. We'd like it to be asphalt because otherwise we're going to have it, because we could always talk about a variance, but we're going to have gravel coming out on the road, and that's going to cause the road to deteriorate faster. And it is an artery into downtown, and certainly with CanPac and Progress Rail and the others out there, there's increasing traffic out there. And so we talked about whether we could do something to help them, and also maybe suggest or encourage the county economic development folks to do so as well. Garrett has talked to them, and I think, I don't want to misstate, but I think they are interested in considering some help, but they haven't committed to anything yet. And so we would like to, and what I would in proposing, that we've had this discussion about the Southway project, the Southway Plaza project, and we have money allocated for that. There have been delays. From what I understand, I don't know when that will start. But anytime projects delay, you wonder. We want to have investments in the south side, and we also want to. And that project was about an artery into downtown. Well, this is an artery into downtown. So I'm asking if you would consider, and please talk to Garrett as well, but consider moving some of that money, in my mind, a quarter of that money over to help Garrett get the lot paved.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Number one, what is the address of that property?
I think it's 2801. Is that?
Oh, sorry. It's right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question is, I have spoken with the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission after you were there. Have you guys been to the Plan Commission and the Plan Commission and discuss a variance at all? Because that's what was suggested from the county.
We have not been there to ask for a variance for the asphalt. I did speak to Bookout on that as well, and it's definitely an option for us to do so. But I also talked to Adam Leach about this as well, and he kind of suggested too that if we could get paving done, it would definitely
be Tim,
not just better for us, but better for the total project. And dragging gravel in and out of there with semis, and there's gonna be dump trucks and semis out of there just about every day.
I cannot deal with that vocal.
We're currently about 15 employees. He said we're looking at about 5 or 6. We really think we're maybe even closer to 10. So by the time we add like a nursery-like place up front, as our lawn care business continues to grow, and then the trucking business will keep growing as well. So,
Garrett and I did talk about the variance as well, but
so I want to show you something. I want to show you guys something. I'm a little disappointed that this is not more up to date than what it is, but I guess it is what it is. So this is the property. Okay. This is the property where it is. This is formerly Garrett's Auto Sale. All right. This is now all different. They basically have got an entrance this way, and there's a great big, nice, like pole barn building back here behind, back here. And if you go this way, and you come in down here, you can get to it like off this way too. So it's back in here. And so he's going to have like I assume that's where they're going to have their trucks and their lawn equipment. He's going to do some kind of nursery or something up here in this old building. So they own all of this land. I was hoping that it would be updated. Let me see if it's updated. No, unfortunately, it only goes older. That's unfortunate. So it only goes to 2019. I will get a picture of this area and let you guys see it. Here's what it looks like from above, so you guys will know where this is in Muncie, basically. So it's on Cowan Road on the south side of Muncie. here's where we are, where my cursor is, right here by Red Dog Saloon. So you can see it's on the south side of Muncie. They have done a lot of work out there, And I'm just going to tell you this way. I'm going to say this. All of the bloody money that the city of Muncie and Delaware County's thrown around, I'm telling you, they need to throw money at this guy. They need to go pave this for him. Keep him there. Keep him happy. He's busting his hump and doing good work out there. I'm very stingy when it comes to things like that. Toss this guy a bone. Quit making him jump through hoops and do all of this crazy stuff. He's meeting and exceeding any and every criteria that they throw at him. And every time he comes up to every time he comes up to it and he meets and exceeds, then they say, well, just one more hoop. Just what, you know what? Coop's Lawn Care could easily do a great job in Anderson. And he could have it. You know what I mean? You want to keep people like this here, man. You want to keep people like this here. And this is a good business on this area of town, man. It's so stupid that they're making this guy do this. It's insane. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good question, Tim. That's $1.2 million of his money. Let's take a look again at this guy, because I'd say he's not as old as I am. He's probably not 40. I'd like to invest $1.2 million into a studio that I could be asking them to help pave. You know what I mean? Like, this is this guy a bone.
There's that, and I also fall. So I'm like right on city limit line. So 23rd, right there splits. What's the Red Dog and Midwest Metal is the line. So I fall right there, and I also fall on a corridor. And so I've been held to hold all these standards, and I feel like I've done my best job to make sure I've done that. So I kind of feel like asking for a variance on the last part of this. Just don't kind of do my project justice in my eyes. So
No challenge.
like I said, I've met with the county, and they've acted like they would definitely help us out, but they wanted to kind of, I don't want to speak for them by any means, but they wanted to kind of almost partner and see if you guys would be willing to do your part as well, since I am technically in city limits.
So your business is in actual city limits?
I'm in city limits.
Yeah.
I'm like, but if you're coming from the city, I'm the first thing you see on your right, and as you're leaving from the county going in the city, I'm the last thing you see on the left. So we do have a lot of plans of, like I said, adding another facility to wholesale plants and bulk materials up front there. So it won't just be our shop that's there. We do plan on having traffic coming in and out of there on a daily basis.
Are they talking while he's talking? I paused that because I was like, what do I have running in the background? Listen to this.
I've been held to hold all these standards, and I feel like I've done my best job to make sure I've done that. So I kind of feel like asking for a variance on the last part of this. Just don't kind of do my project justice in my eyes. So
No challenge.
like I said, I've met with the county, and they've acted like they would definitely help us out, but they wanted to kind of, I don't want to speak for them by any means, but they wanted to kind of almost partner and see if you guys would be willing to do your part as well, since I am technically in city limits.
So your business is in actual city limits?
I'm in city limits. Yeah. I'm like, but if you're coming from the city, I'm the first thing you see on your right, and as you're leaving from the county going in the city, I'm the last thing you see on the left. So we do have a lot of plans of, like I said, adding another facility to wholesale plants and bulk materials up front there. So it won't just be our shop that's there. We do plan on having traffic coming in and out of there
How
on a daily
rude.
basis for wholesale plants and bulk materials.
And I did talk to Brad Kogout yesterday.
Mhm.
Hopefully we will be talking about it this morning, and encourage them that if our commission was willing to support, encourage them to consider doing something as well. He was, I don't know what words he's not, but he felt like they had an interest in trying to do something.
Did you have a number in mind or specifics in mind for the investment?
Well, we kind of did the math upstairs, and we were looking at about a quarter of the money that was allocated to the other. Because if that happens, we still want to do something, but we're not going to put our money in until something happens. But there'll just be less money available over there. But that's the cost of delay.
That's the cost of their delay. They do have to face that.
And
Yeah.
it could happen again if it doesn't get off the ground. But,
Sure. Well, I like the idea of, because I mean, we all know there's been criticism of Southway Plaza, good or bad, whether you agree with it or not. There has been criticism. There have been delays. And if this is a method in which we can hold that developer accountable to an extent and also still invest in the south side of Muncie, I think that's a really valuable option for us to take, truthfully.
What does this guy have to do with Southway Plaza? Wait. No, this guy's been around for a long time. This guy's not a new company. He's not new. I think he's been around for a while.
I would like to know more details, but before we take any action, but I don't know what the timeline's like. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I've driven past it, and you've done a lot of work out there, and it looks great. And it's great to see a business out there in an area that's really kind of deprived.
But okay, let's say for the sake of argument, that he does fold. Let's say he does fold. That building out there is a killer building. It's absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. And they would be able, I mean, you know, this would still be doing a ton of great good for the city and the county overall if we are involved in this, if we are involved in helping pave this. Pave it essentially is all that they're asking to do.
And hopefully with one business comes more things. So,
and we can't shy away from the fact that Jeff's numbers $1.2 million of down investment. That's extremely impressive.
That's good.
And I'm thankful for that. So,
go ahead. Go ahead if you want to say.
I was just going to say, I'd be for investing with someone that's invested their own money and has business up and going, and instead of holding on to the Southway Plaza, we don't know what's happening.
Sure. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm open to thinking about that. I'd like to see us exhaust a variance with a mix of potential design strategy to mitigate the rock and such that can come on the street. Because I don't know if it's a complete paving or it could be a partial paving, but I would rather see the plan with all the entities come together before we make a final decision. So
he's been in business since 2015. So he's coming up on 10 years in business. He's coming up. If you look through the Indiana Secretary of State's website, Coops Lawn Care LLC, domestic limited liability company, creation date February 25th, 2015, 2800 South Cowan Road, Muncie, Indiana. So wherever he was. And I also, for the record, I want to be very clear that we say this. When I said that I was related to the people that did the Carlot Garrett auto sale, I didn't know this guy's name was Garrett Cooper. I want to be very clear. I am in no way related to this kid. This kid is not related to me. I'm not speaking because I'm not saying like, help my family member out. We are not related in any way. There is no way that we are connected. So I want to be very clear up front there.
I'd rather wait and understand exactly what the county can do and what others can do and what the variance process can bring about.
Yeah. So when I spoke to Book Out the first time, it was simply, he just said we might be able to help you out with about half of the cost now that's what he just, now nothing's set in stone by anything. He just said if we could go and try and find, that was kind of what they were possibly willing to do if we can get it approved. But he wanted me to come speak to you guys first and then come back to their meeting and let them know kind of pretty much what you guys have had to say about it. And
you're meaning when you're saying Book Out, you're talking the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, because he runs multiple things,
Yeah.
so I want to make sure.
I'm
I feel
glad
like we
someone
need
said
to,
that.
I agree with Mr. Dale. I think we need some more information. I did have a call, like I said, from the County Redevelopment Commission that just kind of gave me a heads up that you guys were going to be coming. That's the only information I've had. I don't know how much money you're asking for. I don't know how much the project is. I don't know what the county is talking about.
200,000 is what he mentioned.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't
200,000
catch that.
total to pay it.
Total.
Okay. So
And so you're only asking asking for a portion from us, correct?
Correct.
Not- Okay.
So ideally, if the county could
What
do
a
100, then you
miserable
guys,
human
I would be
being
asking you guys for
he is.
100. It just kind of depends on what you guys could all agree on and what we could do to try and
Sure.
get the project completed. So we also still do have to put a fence up. There's about $60,000 for the plants that are still required to go around the facility since I fall in that corridor area.
Sure.
And
It's a lot.
it's a lot for a small business to try and
Yeah.
meet up to these standards. And I'm doing my best to do it. And
Sure.
We appreciate
Um,
that.
Mr. Cooper, if you didn't get, if you didn't have to pave it, would you pave it?
if I didn't have to, not right now, I couldn't afford to.
So
I'm just trying to hold up to what the standard has been.
has it ever been something considered? I mean, you were probably going to leave it as an unpaved.
Yeah, as of right now, yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest going after the variance and having a design strategy that might meet middle ground, and then it might also favor the contribution by the two other organizations.
That's the
That's
first thing I disagree.
I agree with
You're,
this.
you're just saying you wouldn't do it because you don't have the money.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have asphalt. I mean, so the
Sure.
requirement is either I have to put chip and seal,
And
concrete, or asphalt. That's the requirement.
we need to look at long-term
yeah.
stability of it, not.
Right.
Yeah.
And just longevity wise, I mean, it's going to, if I leave it gravel, you guys all know what gravel driveways do eventually,
Yeah,
running
sure.
semis and trucks and stuff like that. Eventually it's going to a road.
Yeah.
And that mess is going to get dragged onto the road every day.
Right.
A street sweeper is going to be a must. I mean, it was the whole time during our project that sweeper ran. And there's a sweeper up and down that road all the time.
Good thought.
So I'm just trying to resolve a problem before it becomes a
Exactly.
bigger problem after we've been established.
Sure.
I feel as a business owner, you have to choose between what you have to do and what you can afford to do.
Sure.
And I just feel, I agree with Mr. Dale that we should reevaluate this, take a look at it. I'm not against doing this,
Right.
but both
Right.
the county commission and our commission are saying we need to look at a variance. And that doesn't mean leaving it gravel. It may mean paving a smaller amount, putting some kind of erosion control of some
Mhm.
sort that's going to keep the gravel on the lot. If it's gravel, chip and seal, you just said that's a
I
lot
just
cheaper
can't
than
deal with it, man.
asphalt. I just
Can't
think
deal with it.
the
They're gonna.
I agree with the
they're gonna
suggestion
have
of the
to
county
start-
and of Mr. Dale that we need to look at what other options.
She's going to have to start writing her shit down, and someone's going to have to start talking for her. I'm going to have to bow out of Muncie. I'm reaching a point, and I'm going to have to start cutting some crazy shit out of my life because I'm coming to a breaking point, and I just can't deal with it.
Are available because that's a lot of money, and there's a lot of other businesses in town that
That is
then will be
such
coming here
a
wanting
stupid
us to
idea.
pave or put a new roof or whatever. So I just think we need to.
Okay.
I would make a motion. I guess
Stop.
just till next month so that we can.
Business, what did she say that businesses sometimes have to do? Sometimes
I think
businesses
they have to
a
take $40,000 in ARP money from the boss they work for, and then close their door 2 weeks later. Oh,
Right.
no, that's not what she said.
No,
Sorry.
no, that's not. No, she said
Yeah.
you have to sometimes choose
Mhm.
between what you need to do and what you can afford to
What
do.
you can afford to do.
Unless you can get $40,000 from your boss and then, shut the business down.
Yeah, oh, you did say this. All right, you
Oh, yes, I did.
did.
As soon as she opened her fat fucking mouth and said
Yes.
that was the end of that.
You did say that.
Making decisions. Fuck you.
Yeah. Tell us tell you and your whole life, woman, is funded by the taxpayers of Muncie. Your husband works in the controller's office. You are the gatekeeper of the mayor who sits on the board of works. Taxpayers buy your groceries, pay your gas, buy your bonbons and whatever else you got going on. And you're going to tell me, like, this kid, I'm going to get this kid on. Man, I hate saying that because as soon as I do that, they'll screw him over. All right, I'll leave this kid alone, but I'm screaming from the rooftop. This dude, I don't mean kid. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This man, because he's more of a man than I am. This badass is doing everything right. I respect this guy. My dad was a badass. My dad was a small business owner. That shit is tough. It is tough. You know what they're saying, Tim? They're saying Muncie's not worth. I don't even care. I don't care if that kid's in that building for a year. Muncie will be better off with that building there and with it paved. Yeah. They're both extremely irritating people.
Review it. Is that what we need to
I
do?
don't think we have to.
We don't need to make an action for that.
We don't need to take
What I would
any
suggest
action.
we do is just allow Jeff to continue in his capacity as director to continue to work with Mr. Cooper. And, there's a lot of moving pieces, right, between city government, county government, small business. We all know how that is. So
We hate each other. We don't.
I would suggest Mr. Cooper just continue to work with Mr. Howe. Obviously, Mr. Howe, you're wonderful. You'll follow up with him, I'm sure. So, and we'll just continue to see if we can make something work or see what the best option is for everybody. But I appreciate you being here.
no,
and
absolutely. Thank you very
appreciate
much.
your
Yeah,
work.
definitely. And thanks for everything you're doing out there.
That's
Like I
wonderful.
said, I'm not against it. I just would like more information
That's
before we make a step.
That's fair. Okay. Mr. Baker, you're up next.
I'm.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ted Baker. I'm CEO and Executive Director of the Muncie.
He wants money.
First of all,
they got some stuff from the state. They're the best place in the world. They're the biggest and greatest innovator in all of the world. They get something that only 18 other people on the face of the planet gets. It's amazing. They're wonderful. He's a good guy. They're all good. Everything's good. Everything's wonderful. He's awesome. And he loves fun.
At $500,000 over the
That's over
period.
a 15-year period.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Then we're looking at a project on the Old West End through some of the stuff we're trying to do with Ready, and we have put in there a management fee for the land bank to manage that project over 2 years, and I think we stuck the number in at about.
This, I want to be very clear. This MOU does not in any way like prevent the land bank from asking us for property, of course. So if there are target properties, maybe that the land bank assesses, they look at what we have and they're like, actually, could we have 5 or 10 or whatever? They certainly can approach us and ask us for those. And we
Okay,
can.
this is
So,
gonna
that's still an
getting
avenue.
into
That's still
interesting
certainly a
point. We're gonna wrap it up.
possibility. Just
I'm
depends
trying
on
to
what
get there, folks.
Their goals are. And what
Bear
our
with
goals are.
me.
And what opportunities are available for us to leverage those if we can.
It's a
And
Friday.
I mean,
You
that's
got
the
no place
big
to go
thing as we talk
tomorrow.
About this is, it has to be, it has to be well thought out and, with some, stepping back from the straw, right? I mean, we got to look at the whole playing field and see what we want to do. And I think those are the things. And there are always components of, we're talking about this,
Tim.
somebody else does something this. Well, that can influence what we do here.
Sure.
As we talk about a variety of things, what we see, we're in a position in a lot of cases to see the whole field, while somebody's looking at what they're doing is, reduced to a city block. Well, so we have to, react to those things as well. So there's always a little bit of, got strategic direction, then you got tactical moves, and so we want to look at these things strategically, and then, like I say, but we have to be understanding that there'll be tactical moves that take place.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
One question I have concerns you guys are talking about how we have a match for these larger projects. And in the last year or two, the process of these abandoned homes coming from the county or abandoned properties coming from the county has changed. The county now is making, where did Nate go? There you are. He's made, the county now has an agreement with you to give the land bank any properties that don't sell in the tax sale to the land bank that are within the city limits, correct? Or that's the agreement that you guys are in the works for?
Go ahead,
Yes.
please.
We were awarded 40 properties by the
Mhm.
county on April 15th.
Mhm.
We're in discussion about, can we create an agreement where every year that's done systematically for properties that have gone through the tax sale and that are unsold. We're still in that conversation. That's not been formalized yet.
Okay.
Or signed yet. Yeah.
Okay. So that process, if that agreement is signed and the county goes forward with the agreement to the land bank, then the MRC will no longer receive those properties from the county, which we have in the past, which we then use to leverage the City View project, the Southern Terrace project. We will no longer have those properties to do. So where does that then allow us in the future to be able to have those large housing projects? And you stated
So listen,
earlier,
it's the Wegleys versus the land bank. Again, I don't know how a person could be so close-minded. The Muncie Land Bank, if it does well, Muncie does well.
how many homes in 12 months?
32, I think,
32
32 or
homes in
33,
12 months?
and 61 in 18 months.
And
And
61 in
yeah, and
18 months?
that's a legitimate concern. This is why we talk about this, we need to think about what we do, because if we don't have an inventory,
Right.
Sure.
then we don't have that.
Right.
And then we start looking at projects, and I've had this conversation before. If we can't leverage it that way, we got to write bigger checks.
Right. And
Or
so
they don't
here's the follow-up on that to Nate, which I've asked you after the city council's meeting multiple times. I have, going back to 2020 here, the city of Muncie MRC, and through community development, which was payments to maintain properties that we had given them. We have given the land bank $191,000 since 2020. And please, Nate, will you tell me how many homes have you rehabbed, have you taken in from either us or the county or other source, and rehabbed and returned to the tax rolls in that time frame?
One question before I answer that is, as I understand, if we received property from the county, that wouldn't be necessarily just for the land bank. That would be on behalf of the city. And I don't know, my thought is that those properties there would be almost like a first right of refusal to the city, to the MRC, for when deals start to be developed. You say, land bank, we need these, and these. You sign some type of letter that's endorsing an option for these properties to be used in that development. That's how I see us working with the city.
Okay, that's the first I've heard of that.
But
And
sure, I'm
I
sorry.
was very,
Sure.
The first you've heard. She is a representative of the city mayor. She thinks she is the city mayor. She thinks her voice is the voice of the city. And you're telling me that the first she's heard that the Muncie Land Bank and the city of Muncie work together as one? This is the first time she's heard of that concept?
Well, to be fair, I don't think Dan likes working with anyone, so this may be new to her.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's absolutely. Yeah. She is out of touch. She is out of touch. Dan is out of touch. The city of Muncie currently is out of touch. They don't know that we are in. They don't know that we are in Delaware County. They don't understand that. They don't have a concept. They don't know that the land bank is in Muncie. They don't know that we work together.
in this annual report that came out this week. Matter of fact, I was fuming.
Listen to this. Listen to this. She was fuming when she saw that. Don't speak. I mean, who are you?
I saw it.
Yeah.
Because 8 pages, the county.
8 pages.
The city of Muncie.
The county,
Not even city of Muncie. City. Right there. That's all it says.
Mhm.
That's the only including of the city in this entire annual report.
And look, Isaac with his George Michael 5 o'clock shadow beard of contemptuous jerkiness is sitting there bobbling his head off of his shoulders. Like, it says Muncie Land Bank. It doesn't say Delaware County Land Bank. It doesn't say East Central Indiana Land Bank. It says Muncie. Look down here in this blue thing. It says Muncie. Like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yet we have given $191,000 and are being asked to give a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we're not even included in this.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge issue. So I never would have dreamt then that you're saying the city would have right of refusal for those homes, for
And
those
I would
properties.
just a couple things. One about that issue. One, my top of my update is to that was an error. That was my fault.
I feel so sorry for this guy. I am so embarrassed. All of these people who are sitting in here, so cringy, man. I'm back over here. I'm back off behind. I'm back over to the right here, but I just couldn't believe what I was hearing.
It was oversight. It was a bad. No,
it wasn't.
In a lot of ways, I feel like we are an extension of the city.
Yeah.
If we should put the city's seal on our front page, right beside our logo.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think of it. And so when I think about it, just the city being just another partner, I don't feel that way. I feel like we are working to really become, you know, in a way, kind of a new extension department for the city. So anyway, that's an error. And we need to do a better job of promoting our partnership and publicly outside of this meeting, say, we are working for the city. And as Mr. Howe mentioned, one of the things we talked about is that how can we do a better job of, at a very practical level, working better with MRC, working better with the mayor, so that the things we're doing are complementing what the greater vision is for Muncie. So I received that, and we'll do a better job. That wasn't intentional. That was an error on my part, partly because of my thinking, is that we are the city to a degree.
I owe the floor to Mr. Dale. I just wanted to say you did send a very nice email apologizing about the report. It's really okay. It's not a big deal. Go ahead, Mr. Dale.
Correct. The MOU states.
Well, that's not, no. That's not what Mayor Wagley just said.
That there'll be enhanced communication with the city.
Yes.
And I assume it goes both ways, right? If you're doing it one way, you're going to be doing it the other way. So I would think on the property, on how properties are advanced and shared or divvied out, I would think that that understanding is going to help with good planning.
I did so, and sorry, Nate, I just want to say this too. So Jeff said something that was really useful to my perspective here, which is if there's less property, we have to write bigger checks, right? Ideally, if the MRC is doing what we're supposed to do, which is turning over property, redeveloping property, whether that's to the land bank or anybody else, we are then seeing the results of that redevelopment, which we have, and we will have more money to write bigger checks for further development. And I think that's the big picture that you have to have with some of these things. And I mean, Mr. Dale's read the statute, right? If you actually read MRC statutes from the State House, I mean, the original statutes kind of insinuate, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, but they insinuate that really MRCs are eventually supposed to become irrelevant. we're really supposed to actually develop all this abandonment.
You're as irrelevant as possible.
But it's a big issue, and so it's going to take years and years and years to do that. We understand that. So I guess the way that I view it is a partnership with the land bank, whether it's with property or money or whatever, like it reaches the same goal. And so I know there's been challenges with the land bank in the past. I was on the board for the land bank for a year. I got to experience some of those challenges in communication between government entities and the land bank and things. And Nate has done a wonderful job at turning that around. I will vouch for that any day of the week. Not even turning it around, because there weren't crazy problems, but he's done a wonderful job. And I just think the fact that the land bank is willing to honor our request to let us keep property this time, because our original agreement was really $50,000 to help them manage 20 properties. So the fact that we can hold on to properties and achieve our goal right now, which is what we have to be concerned about, and they can achieve their goal, which is get some funding, not even all the funding requests that they really asked for. I think it's been made public, but Nate's original request was $150,000 over 1 year. And we just felt that really wasn't sustainable. So like, this has been a really good negotiation process, I feel like. And so that's kind of where my heart's at with it. But if there aren't any further comments, Jeff, you need action taken on this MOU today, correct?
There is. My original question, I guess that brought you back to the podium this time, was houses.
Yes.
How many houses in the the time frame that of the $191,000?
Well, I would say one. So we have it's a little fuzzy on before I showed up all the properties that have come from the MRC, but I have the number around 35
property
that we've gotten from the MRC.
Okay.
And those properties on average were in the MRC's inventory for about 4.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And of those 30 properties, we have sold all but 4.
And those are empty lots.
Those are vacant lots. We haven't got any houses from the MRC.
And what about as a whole?
So yes, and
Houses
so
as a whole.
2 of those we're holding as part of our Old West End development project. Of those 30, and the other 2 are currently on our auction site. And actually, one of those will be sold with approval from our board tomorrow. So of the 30 that we've gotten, and on average, we've gotten those out the door in 13 months.
That have structures?
Those are all vacant lots. We're all talking about MRC.
Okay,
So
I'm talking about houses.
now getting to houses. We have not,
God.
again, we haven't received any houses from the MRC.
Mm-hmm.
Our first houses, we've acquired a total of 17 properties with structures. Our first properties with structures were acquired in July of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
6 of those were sold to local residents who are in various stages of redevelopment. 4 are being held for development for the development project we're working in the Old West End that we've recently bought with Ball Brothers Foundation funding. 2 are being held for local nonprofits that are lining up funding for rehabs. That's one for Urban Light CDC, and the other is for Pathstone. And then one was demolished with city funding and then sold to a adjacent neighbor. One was demolished with MLB funding, and then it was split and then sold to the adjacent neighbors. One is again on approval from the board tomorrow. We're selling on land contract and it's going to be rehabbed over time. And one is being held for another local resident who will begin rehabbing it once we finish the major improvements to it, which is a $30,000 fund that we're using. It's in partnership with Pathstone and their housing acquisition rehabilitation program. And one was sold to a local CDC nonprofit that just started $100,000+ rehab job.
Not-for-profit.
Not-for-profit. They're rehabbing it and then they're going to sell it to a family here in Muncie.
So it'll be on the tax roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Mhm.
But I guess you gave great information. What I was trying to identify is you've taken in 17 properties with structures from all your various sources. 6 have been returned to the tax rolls, homes with people living in them, correct?
Yeah, and a couple have been demolished, and then
Okay. But nobody's living in them. They're not a home that people are living in.
well, we got with our first houses were in July of 2022, so it takes time to get it, clean it up, get it
I just
sold,
felt that
and then get it rehabbed.
the way that it has been explained, that the citizens
Mhm.
were thinking that you had 94 homes come in, you've had 94 homes go
Mhm.
out that people are living in.
Yeah.
That was even some of the council members.
But if you
That was what they were
and
thinking.
you saw me pushing back, if you watched the meeting, you saw me saying, actually, I want
I
to
know, but
clarify
that's
again,
why I wanted
94
to clarify
properties
that.
we acquired.
But in our affordability, when we go back to talking about MRC, 12 months, 30 some homes,
Mhm.
5 years, 6 homes, $191,000. Now an ask for the additional pilot. I feel
yeah.
the money, the financial end of this does not benefit this MRC or the city
I
to
think
support this.
I think what the best answer I can give to that is what also Mr. Howe mentioned, that our proposal for ready funding. So we have 37 properties in the Old West End, 35 that we actually own right now, or we're going to be owned in the fall. That were awarded. 24 of those awarded.
The land bank is a good thing, man.
But anyways, I don't shy away from that. That's welcome. And yeah, I really more than anything, I just want to thank the mayor, thank you all, thank Mr. Howe.
They've made him feel like he has to apologize for
reason,
doing a good job and
pegged in some places as a partisan tool, or more government tool for overreach. And but we also had a conversation with Senator Braun's team recently about land banking, and I'm just saying that I think land banks are going to be empowered moving forward into the future, and it's a wonderful thing that Muncie is pushing forward, so that when ultimately legislation gets passed that supports land banks, we're in a position to really flourish. So that's a roundabout way of saying thank you, and yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We will move on to our public comment
All
section.
right, here
I see
we
several
go.
faces in the audience today, so if you're not aware, our public comment is limited to 2 minutes each. I do try to be generous with that 2 minutes and let you finish your thought. Please keep your thoughts respectful and cordial and professional.
That's what we got to worry about.
There's a sign-in sheet on the podium.
Public needs to be respectful, but
I don't know who's up first,
the
Jeff, if
board
you have that,
doesn't. Here we go.
Okay. Ms. Nora Powell.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Nora Powell, and I am a City Council District 2 representative. I'm going to go over and see if I can get my laptop to work. I'm here today on behalf of several of my constituents who have contacted me, and also conversations we've had with the mayor about the grass and weeds at one of your properties on Store Estates.
She's there for Store Estates.
Ordinance that they amended, I believe, hold on one second. I'm going to try and do this. Ordinance 27-09 says that weeds and rank vegetation should not exceed the height of 12 inches. And so 2 days ago, the City of Muncie posted something about the Store Estates playground. And then that evening I went over and took pictures myself. There were places that were weeds were over 6 feet tall. There were places where
Weeds were over 6 feet tall.
And the weeds reached halfway up the property of the dumpster. I saw mice. My daughter, who I had helping me take pictures, had a horrible allergy attack weeds aren't just unsightly, they're unhealthy. They bring about poor air quality because of the wind can bring pollen. They can be a fire hazard if they're dried out and there's any kind of issue there.
Ms. Powell,
Yes,
I see waving from the back of the room that they can't hear you because you're not on a microphone.
sure.
Sorry.
Well, unfortunately, to do this, I have to here.
Doing that, sorry. We've paused your times. You're okay. You can, absolutely.
I mean, that is true. I wish what she was doing was at the microphone. She's trying to show them pictures on her.
I have come today because I lived on Beacon and you are the owner of the property. And so I'm just asking you to follow city ordinance. I'm just asking you to maintain your property.
Maintain the property, follow city ordinance.
The property. Don't have to deal with the things that they say. I'm just gonna come up and show you that, and we can post those wherever you'd like.
What was that side talk? Let's see if we can hear it.
Property. And so I'm just asking you to follow city ordinance. I'm just asking you to maintain your property so that the people who live next to the property don't have to deal with the things that they say. I'm just gonna come up and show you that, and we can post those wherever you'd
I
like.
couldn't tell.
I apologize.
It's okay. Miss Powell, we're going to go ahead and start your time again, okay?
Sure. So this is the post from the other day. That's a cone
Mhm.
that is hardly visible. That's a lot marker. I'm sorry, Mr. Dale.
I can see.
That is 4 feet 8 inches tall at that point. There is the road behind those weeds.
Sure.
The dumpster I talked about. Debris, construction debris.
She's showing them pictures. Everyone that's listening at home, she's showing pictures.
They're up to the side. That's the scave. More lot markers where they're above the lot markers. My car is a 2011 SUV. At that point, the hood is about this tall on me.
She's saying that
You can go ahead and finish your point if you'd like.
the weeds are up to her hood of her car.
That you adhere to ordinance 27-09. Some of the residents have cited traffic safety. They have several children in that area. They ride their bikes all through the store estates because it's kind of cool to have those streets. They duck out between store estates, crossing Mansfield, and they've had instances where kids have almost been hit on their bikes because of traffic. Just asking you to be good neighbors and to maintain the property that you own. So
Thank you very much.
Can I say something in response? I went out today
okay,
and it looks like about 20% of the lot has started to be mowed.
perfect,
And you and I both shared our concerns with the administration
correct.
and with the MRC administration a week ago. And at that time, we understood it wouldn't be mowed, but it sounds like it's beginning to be mowed. All I would ask, as I think you would ask, and by the way, Mike Rhodes, a neighbor, and Mark Bierman called me too about it.
Yeah, and there have been several comments on Facebook underneath that post.
We're all
that-
hoping that we continue to mow it and finish the other 80% that needs to be mowed. But it looked like over the last day or something, so there was maybe 20% mowed.
That's wonderful. It would have had to have been yesterday because I was out there Tuesday evening. And that's all I ask is that you maintain your property and adhere to the ordinances on file.
Makes sense.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, one other thing. Mr. Miller, you're invited as a city council person. I'm inviting you to any of the meetings on the first Monday of the month at 7:00. If you'd like to come and speak about what MRC does, or if Mr. Howell would, I would invite you to do that. If you talk to me as the vice president, or you can talk to Mr. Dishman, the president, and we will make time for you to address council.
Sure.
I just wanted to bring that up since there was an issue last month. Thank you.
No, there's no issue. It's the first time I've ever been invited, so thank you. Miss
Well,
Arrington,
Open invitation.
we
Thank you.
do have open comment. Miss Arrington, you're up next.
We do have open comment. What did that mean? We do have open comment. Why did he just say that? We do have open comment. What? Why was that said? I mean, so I think there was no reason for him to say that.
Thank you. I'm here speaking for two neighborhood associations that are the north and the south of Stower Estates. I live in West Briar, which is the one on the south, and Stower Woods is the one on the north. We are planning a ribbon cutting for the playground. We're thrilled with the progress of the playground, what that whole area looks like, and our ribbon cutting will be on August 22nd. So I came with a series of questions. Some of them I think were addressed in the last with Ms. Powell, because we want the property to look as good as it can when that ribbon cutting occurs. So I had planned to ask, had the ownership been transferred yet, but apparently it has not. And it is still the city that's in charge of the mowing. So that was one of our concerns was the height of the weeds. And another one was also mentioned the items that are still on site, these pipes. Erin Moore took pictures that she gave me. There.
Just to speed this along, Representative Arrington basically asks a bunch of questions about store estates and all of this, and when are these things going to be moved along, and yada yada yada. There's a lot of question, a lot of concern about this.
And to multiple, when she's asking us, it seems like we're right here right now.
And all right, now get
I
this.
apologize, Representative.
The street repairs there at the corner of Euclid.
And it was platted, so I'm sure there's a name for it.
Yeah, the commission may know. Yeah.
Is there a
because she was there and asking various questions, they kept saying, well, that's not our job. That's not our job. You need to go here for that. You need to go here for that. You need to go here for that. Andrew Dale speaks up and says, well, she's here speaking to us. Aren't there some things that we could do and bring back to her? Being good stewards of the city and being, good commission members, isn't there some work that we could do? And so she doesn't have to go do all this legwork, is basically where they go.
Timeline for the repairs at the corner of Euclid and Riley. Who should we ask that question?
I don't know where that's at.
State that again. I apologize, Representative.
The street repairs there at the corner of Euclid and Riley.
Where the 3-point where it comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I would not until after construction, I would think.
And the neighbors have asked about the sidewalk at Mansfield. So this would be the Store Woods neighbors that was removed. It went across the front of the school.
Mm-hmm.
Is that sidewalk going to be replaced?
Another question for administration.
Yeah.
Street department.
Yeah.
Street department? Okay.
I'm sure it's part of the development.
So they're telling her to go all these places.
Ms. Aaron, that is your time. We do have other people signed up.
Are
to
we
speak.
capturing all these questions so that we can catch them and get them to the right people so they can get back? I mean, I hate to send Representative Arrington on an errand to multiple when she's asking us. It seems like we're right here right now. We can.
But the streets and things, we are not owned by the MRC.
I just think world-class services that will take those
It's not my job.
questions and get an answer for you.
She knows how to you know how to contact me. I can help you find the answer.
Well, then that's
to
good.
these.
I'm glad you said that.
I mean,
Okay.
we've talked before. So.
Well, I did have one more question on the playground, and that is one of the neighbors in Store Woods has been instrumental in moving that along and the design of it. And so we would like to recognize him, but maybe have a plaque for the family there at the playground. Who would we ask about that?
That'll be one more that I'll put on the list, but
You kind of
probably
lost
Parks
me on
and
that
Rec.
one.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll try to help you get those answers to them.
All right.
One day when the movie of this is all made, they will get Fievel the Mouse to reprise the role of Representative Arrington.
Thank you.
Oh,
Just
that-
some signage yet. Ms. Arrington, if you don't mind, it's Ms. Jameson's turn.
All right.
Hi, Charlize Jameson, Muncie. I'll talk fast since the 2 minutes goes fast. First of all, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, and that seems to be my reputation. So I drove around Muncie for 2 hours yesterday.
2 hours.
And I saw what I'll call the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I have to say, I'm very optimistic about all of the construction work. I know it's a pain in the butt for people to get around and everything, but what's going on at Ball State, what's going on now over at Kilgore Place, I'm very happy to see that because I know housing is needed. So thank you for the activity that I do see going on, because it seems like I come up here every month and say what's going on. So there is stuff going on. Okay, clarification question. So my understanding from being here previously was D.R. Horton was to have closed on the Store Estates property. Am I to understand that has not happened?
Not happened yet.
Final walkthrough with the developer coming up soon.
Tomorrow.
Is that
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Okay, so at the present time,
Okay. What's interesting is get that? Jeff Howell, the MRC director, he didn't know when it was going to be happening, but the mayor of Muncie, Mayor Wagley, she knew that the final walkthrough before closing to the store estates in D.R. Horton was going to happen on Friday the 19th. That's today. Sometime today, apparently, the final walkthrough happens. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from this. You heard it here.
A final walkthrough? Why would they need a final walkthrough if you're just buying a piece of property? Did they have a list of shit that the city had to have done?
Yeah.
Prior to them being willing to buy it?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It seems very strange.
Yeah.
They're a developer, and they keep saying that the city isn't a developer. We don't do that.
Yeah,
we just
right.
help facilitate.
Yeah.
But apparently it's okay to spend a shit ton of money to convince a developer to develop a property.
Right? Isn't that so weird?
But you can't give money to a small business to help them develop their property.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely amazing. One of these days when the city is forced to answer Indiana public access requests again, once my complaints go through and we finally deal with that, because right now the city of Muncie is not doing record requests. They're just not doing record requests. They're not doing.
This does
any
bring up
access.
another interesting question I have. So someone had asked on the communications page,
Yeah.
how many of the lots were sold?
Yeah.
And someone from the city of Muncie was very proud to get on there and say, all of them.
All of them.
But at that point in time, they weren't closed on.
Yeah.
So someone from the city of Muncie lied.
Yeah.
They lied.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not closed, they're not sold.
Yeah.
Call me weird.
Yep, you're right. Yep. All right, here we go.
The City of Muncie Redevelopment Commission owns this. Once it's signed over to D.R. Horton, I've heard a couple of answers to Sue's questions being referred to the Parks Department. Is the Store Estates Park going to be under the auspices of the Muncie City Park Department?
Yes.
Would have to be, yeah.
Going forward?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. And a lot of people are asking that question. Who's going to maintain this park? Lastly, I guess the Coopers have left, but I was really impressed by their personal investment into what they're wanting to do. I am less than impressed
from Canada.
with Brick Red Systems. And part of my little tour yesterday was Southway Center. It's a disgrace, and it continues to be a disgrace. And I want to finish my thought.
Go ahead.
I would be fully supportive. I understand the need to wait and whatnot to make sure we got all our ducks in a row. But I would be fully supported of the idea that we would take the money that the MRC put in for the parking lot at Southway Center and devoting up to 1/2, if the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission approves, to get their property paved. That's a company that's working. They're doing the job. They're putting in the money. Brick Red has done nothing. And I would go further to say we should be looking at pulling whatever incentives that we gave Brick Red System, sever that relationship and begin looking at developing that with someone else that cares. And have they paid their back taxes? The owner, whoever the owner is. That's another question. And lastly, I'm going to add this. There's been a lot of talk today about the Old West End, and there's a major cornerstone property that is up for sale right now, and that is the Friends Memorial Church. I mentioned this last meeting, and I don't know if my comments or anyone's comments make it to the meeting minutes. I don't know. But I asked for a commitment, and I didn't hear one, that this commission would do everything possible, along with the city of Muncie, to not ever bulldoze that property in favor of a wrecking ball. That could be used, if not as a church, it could be used as a community center. It is vitally important to the people of Old West End. It's vitally important to the historic preservation of Muncie, and it needs to be saved. I hope a buyer buys it, but it needs to be saved, and you folks are the first step at saving it, redeveloping it, whatever.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Jameson. I also have a Holly, is it Yip?
It's Yipe.
Yipe, I'm so sorry.
Listen to
No
this.
problem.
Holly Yipe, community activist. Just a couple of things here, and they're kind of related. So one of them is about transparency, communication, and the role that citizens in the community play in the work that you do as MRC. So you meet on the third Thursday at 9 a.m. That's a really difficult time for many people to come to your meetings. Now that people are not able to comment on Facebook during those meetings. I think
Bang.
it removes an important avenue for public discussion and discourse. I know I've taken 2 hours off work to be here today. When you go to your website, there's broken links. Your names aren't on there. There's only an email address for Mr. Howe. And so I think there's some ways that we could improve that transparency and that ability to communicate. There's not a lot of information about what projects you're doing, updates on those projects. I also think that we have technology that we could use during these meetings. When I was on the Preservation Commission, when we looked at a property, we would pull it up on the screens so that everybody could see exactly what we were talking about. So with that, I'd also like to remind you that at City Council, there was overwhelming public support for the land bank. And some of what they do also includes cleaning up those tax rolls, getting those vacant properties back out and maintaining them, which we see is also highly important to the public when we look at Store and some of the other MRC properties in the past. So also, I just want to say that with the development of the Point, right nearly outside, I'm hoping that when you are looking at that project, you're also thinking about how it relates contextually to the other areas of public art and pedestrian and bicycle use. We have 2 trails that come right there. We have the high school. My office overlooks that area. And so I see how many people walk through there daily. And I'm uncertain how the crossing of those very busy streets is related in that design. So I hope you consider that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I have nobody else signed up for public comment, so we will move on into commissioner comments. Yeah.
Here it goes.
I have the church that Miss Jameson referenced, I don't believe is set to be demolished or bulldozed to my knowledge. To my knowledge, it's in the process of being in a private sale, whether someone's made an offer on it or not, it's just up for sale. I don't believe the building is blighted or abandoned to my knowledge as well. So if it takes on that status, maybe there's an avenue for the Redevelopment Commission to be involved. Maybe not, but correct. Correct. That's true as well. So, but to my knowledge, it's not blighted or abandoned, and it is up for sale by whoever the owners are of that church. So that's up to them to decide what they want to do there. Yeah. Beyond that, it's nice to be invited to City Council. I do appreciate that. It's the first time I've ever been invited in 4 years. My comments last month were in regards to confusion on why the process changed to all of a sudden have updates from this commission when they were never requested before. So I was just confused by that.
Stupid statement. Maybe a new council wants to hear something. Maybe citizens are talking to them. I mean, he's making this a capital case, and he knows good and well he's just being bitchy. He knows he's being a little bitch.
Crying earlier in the meeting that they've never invited me to talk. Make up your mind. Do you want to talk? Do you not want to talk? Do you need to be invited, or could you just go? Which is it?
Yeah.
Or are you just bitching to bitch?
Yeah, he's just bitching to bitch. Hey, timing issues. Glad we finally saw you. All right, here we go.
But either way, it is what it is. And then 2 last things, and I will be very quick. I just want to say to all the commissioners up here, and Zane as well as absent, I really appreciate our discourse today. I think we disagreed on some things, we agreed on some things, but given the events of this last week and how hard it has just been on people in our country, I appreciate that we're all able to get up here and disagree and go home. And I know we all volunteer for this. We don't get paid for this. So I just appreciate that. Appreciate all of you up here. And I also just want to give my well wishes to Zane again. He has a concussion, couldn't be here today, so I hope he's okay. But those are my comments. Anybody else?
Yeah, I got to, just in response to one of your comments, Zane and I will update council as we feel necessary. We are their appointments and they're appointed by the community. So we'll do that. And of course, we'll endeavor to be honest and truthful as we see things. I would highly suggest that I mentioned earlier, and maybe it's already on the radar screen of Mr. Howell and the mayor, but this House Enrolled Act of number 1454, which was invoked in 2023 by the legislature, it requires us on December 1st to put a 1-year plan in, and we have to not only get it into the DLG, but we also have to get it into City Council, and they have to approve it. So I would hope that maybe the next meeting we can have that as an agenda item and talk about how we can prepare to do that. And again, that's in collaboration with not only our staff, but ourselves and the community, and it'll be a requirement. Now, I understand also there's going to be some form of direction, a memorandum coming out. They've said for a year now they're going to come out with a memorandum. I just learned this like yesterday, but
who was this?
Some directives.
I was just.
Yeah, let me just see here. It's going to be the.
Oh,
it is.
Okay, I
it
see.
is.
Sorry, I thought you were something else. I understand.
And I can share the in fact, I'll just email the paperwork that I saw on this.
Great.
But we're going to have to do it. So,
All right. Any other commissioner comments this
I
morning?
just have a question for Ben
Ms. Wagner?
or a task.
And then here she's not been bitchy enough throughout this whole meeting. She decides she needs to throw just a little bit more zing in here.
For Ben. Ben, can you, not right now, but can you let me know if City Ordinance 27-09, which I think is what Ms. Powell referenced?
Yes.
Can you verify if that applies to construction sites?
She said it's what Miss Powell, was she trying to decide if that was Nora's name or not? Like, what was she doing there?
Please.
She wants to see if it applies to construction zones or not. All right, let me tell you something, Mayor Wagley. It doesn't matter if an ordinance applies to construction zones or not. Be a good neighbor. All right, that's from the bottom of my heart. Okay, so's this. But let's listen to what happens in the meeting.
2709. Wasn't that the one you gave? 2709. Well, there's a difference between being a good neighbor and we could not mow because of the construction activity on the site.
Listen, I didn't think you would get out there and mow, Shireen, but I'm sure the capable people on the street department or the sanitary district, I'm sure they could figure it out. Nobody's asking them to mow over electric lines. No one's asking them to mow over a bobcat. No one is asking them to mow over a setting cement. You can drive through store estates and understand where a mower should go and where it shouldn't go. Common sense. I know it's hard for the mayor's office people, but common sense.
Right. The day before yesterday, the markings were put up for the lots. And so the mowing started yesterday. And
now, keep in mind, at this point, the meeting is essentially over. All right. The meeting is essentially over. They are now having what I would like to call, for all intents and purposes, I would like to say that it is a back and forth where some statements have been made from the commissioners. The meeting is over, and Wigley stated something to the attorney. Then she said something to Nora. Nora responded. Holly Yipe is going to chime in here in a minute and say, well, wait a minute. How can you put flags down and have markings if the grass is tall? So you're going to have some back and forth. And no one's yelled at Nora for answering once. No one's going to yell at Holly. And then when someone answers again, we're going to hear some rudeness.
it's being mowed yesterday and today. So that's why it wasn't mowed, was because of the active construction sites by the utility companies and the park.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other comments from Commissioner?
How can you mark the sites if they're covered in weeds?
Holly said, I have a question, and no one yelled at her. How can you mark the sites if they're covered in weeds?
Because they were marked before the weeds.
They were marked before the weeds, and so they could still see it.
There was other things marked. Yeah, it sounds to me.
Yes.
You know, and I share the concern about the weeds, but I think they put the boundary markers for the
Yes.
properties. The other markers were utilities.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were there before the weeds presented themselves.
Yes, that's correct. Ms. Powell, this is not time for public comment. We gave you your time. I gave you more than your 2 minutes. I try to be fair, but please, can we move on with our meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Are there any other commissioner comments today? Mr. Fabilla? No? I'm just checking. You sure? Okay. All right. We will stand adjourned until our next.
Can we move on with our meeting? The meeting adjourned. What was there to move on with? Listen to this rudeness. What?
Properties. The other markers were utilities.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were there before the weeds presented themselves.
Yes, that's correct. Ms. Powell, this is not time for public comment. We gave you your time. I gave you more than your 2 minutes. I try to be fair, but please, can we move on with our meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Are there any other commissioner comments today? Mr. Fabilla? No? I'm just checking. You sure? Okay. All right. We will stand adjourned until our next meeting on August 15th, 2024.
We need to.
Oh, and you barely heard me start to speak up there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, at that moment when they adjourned, I bet he feels like a big boy. Leave it to Isaac to be such a cringy dickhead to cause me to have to defend Nora Powell. Like, and that makes me dislike him even that much more. I could not stand how he treated her. I could not stand how he treated Sue Arrington, and I'm not a Sue Arringtonite. You know, I'm not a Blue Dog Democrat. I could not stand how they treated Garrett Cooper. I could not stand how they treated the land bank guy. And I was just sitting there, my blood was boiling. And he literally just did that like head roll. And he said, "Can we get on with the meeting, please?" And it was like, you're adjourning the meeting. What is another 30 seconds? So the meeting shut down. And from my seat, I said, "So the meeting is over now?" And then I said, I forget exactly what I said. Something to the effect of, Charlize, do you remember? I think I said something like, "Isaac, you know, you could be a little less rude." And he just kind of looked at me. And I was waiting for them to say, I knew he wasn't going to say something back. I said, "You know, you could be a little less rude, Isaac." I repeated it. And I'm going to start saying bad shit. Maybe don't be so rude. Isaac, maybe don't be so rude. You could, I think I said, "Isaac, maybe don't be so rude." And then I stood up and said, "You know, you could not be so rude, Isaac." And then I was like, all right, I got to leave because I'm getting ready to start saying bad things. So I removed myself from the chambers. And by the time I got outside, I was like pissed that I was like, so now I am certain that I am on a mission. I am going to, when we are done from here, I'm going to mark it on the calendar. God willing, I will be at the MRC board meeting next month. And I'm going to use the 30 seconds to say, "You know, I don't understand what the deal is with your communication here." But then I'm going to launch into, I don't understand why they are so damn rude. They are the rudest board that the city of Muncie has. They're far ruder than the city council. They're definitely more rude than the Board of Works or the sanitary district board. They are the rudest body of government that Muncie has. And it is infuriating. And I'm going to make sure that they know that I'm going to come there and I'm going to use my 2 minutes to embarrass Isaac from this point forward. Yes. Yeah. I like this comment from Miss Fisher here. What has happened to patience and respect? What was 30 more seconds? He didn't like that Nora made him look stupid with her comment about coming to the council meeting. He was so upset about that. All right, that's the thing. Now, that meeting was long, and it took a long. I didn't think it was going to take this long. I cannot believe it's been another 3 hours. I'm going to do this in a two-parter because we've still got to get through the Dreaming with Dan. I still didn't cover Dream with Dan. So what we'll do is we'll take tomorrow night off. Tomorrow is Saturday night. So we're normally off on Fridays and Saturdays. We'll take tomorrow night off. And because it's Sunday night is when we'll be back and we don't have a whole lot going on, we will cover Dreaming Dan's whatever it's called, Dream with Dan on Sunday. So we'll do this as a two-parter. This will be episode 244, Dream with Dan part 1, and Friday or Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it is. Sunday, the 21st at 9 will be episode 245, Dream with Dan Part 2. And we'll cover the Dream with Dan, and then we'll cover the fiasco with the comments and all of that stuff. I appreciate you guys hanging in with me. The meeting on the 24th next month, if that's when you're saying it is, it starts at 9 a.m. The Muncie Redevelopment Commission meetings always start at 9 o'clock in the morning. So next month, they're on the third Thursday of each month. So 1, 2, 3. No, next month. Wait a minute. What are you guys asking me? Next month, 1, 2, 3. It'll be on the 15th at 9 a.m. What does the meeting on the 24th? What time does the meeting start on the 24th of August? What's the 24th of August, Paula? You think they forgot they're recorded? No, they're just assholes. They've got no problem. He opened the door for that by bitching about not being invited, so she invited him. I thought she was nice. Yeah, I mean, it was nice of her. It was nice. I don't know what you're talking about, Paula. What meeting are you talking about the 24th of August? 24th of August is a Saturday. So there are no meetings on the 24th of August. Yeah, so that's what we'll do. We will cover the Dream with Dan meeting that happened at 3 o'clock on Thursday. We will cover that Sunday. So if you're interested in that, be right back here Sunday night. We will be off tomorrow, but we will be back here at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday night. And we will cover Dream with Dan. You won't want to miss it. It's chaos. It's insanity. And it's nuts. So if you can, before you leave, I know everybody's trying to sneak out of here. Please, if you can, do the subscription and do the bell and all of that stuff. And more importantly, hit the like and all of that before you leave. Yeah, no, next month's meeting is at 9 a.m. on the 15th. But we also have a city council meeting on the 5th. We have commissioners meetings and, of course, Board of Works meetings through all of that. So we will be back here Sunday night. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to try to get some aloe on these burns. You see them now? Oh, man. I'm going to try to get some aloe on this craziness. You guys have a good night. Take care. And I wish all of your mothers a good night, too. So take care. Good night. God bless. And we'll see you Sunday. Bye.
Look, you're getting tips.
Ah, yeah.
Or you can take a bath in tea.
Oh my God. Yeah, 824 is the Restore Ribbon Party. Yes. Thank you for that, Jackie. Good thing people know what's going on here.